All right, so we're jumping back into the objection handling series in the Conquer Contractor Chaos course. So today we're going to be talking about the third biggest objection that you're probably going to come across, which is timeline. Before we get into how to handle objections as it regards to timeline, we need to first lay the groundwork and teach you guys to help the client and yourself understand, is this a timeline objection, as in you can't get it done fast enough. When we're trying to discern whether it's a timeline objection, a couple of questions that we can ask very early in the process. Again, I'm going to go back to that part where we keep saying try and bring it back into your qualification process to get a sense of what the timeline is, and then that way you're not even going to have to handle this objection because you're already going to know, and the customer's already going to have expectations for when things are kicking off. I'll give you an example. If in your qualification call you're letting your client know, yeah, sure, so we can come in, we can give you a quote, we can take a look at the project, we'll give you a price, we'll do a design, but just so that you know, we're probably going to be somewhere between 8 to 12 weeks out for us to actually do the work. Does that work with your timeline? And then right there, right then, the customer is going to say, no, I have, we're doing a wedding and having people at the house after. We wanted it to be done before this. Well, I mean, you just can't, win them all. So definitely do the groundwork and include that in your qualification process to make sure that you're not running into that on site. Again, if you're on site and you're finding out that timeline is an objection, you're already too late. You could have handled this long before you got in the car, and now you're just wasting time. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can handle this today. We want to one, figure out what their timeline is. And a lot of the time they're going to say, hey, I needed this done yesterday, or I need this in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Every single person or every client that comes to you is going to have a different way that they operate. Some people are organized and some people are just not. Some people leave it last minute. Some people decide, hey, I'm going to plan this for 6 months out. Really, it comes down to your ideal client. Is your ideal client a planner, or is your ideal client someone who needs a job tomorrow? And, because you're quiet, you're really happy to have that client. Probably a mix for now. Later, as you start to increase your timeline for when you can actually work on projects, you're going to be doing more proactive marketing to attract clients that are going to need you in 3 to 6 months. So when you're looking at this, guys, don't think, oh, well, I want all these jobs tomorrow. That serves you right now, but try and build your ideal client profile to include the fact that there's somebody who plans, there's somebody who is intentional about their time, and someone who wants to be prepared, because they're two different personality types that we're dealing with here. Now, let's say that we are working with a calendar, or we are working with a timeline that either doesn't suit or the customer needs to make a decision today. And this is what you're really going to see. Let's say that the customer in this example says, I need this bathroom done in 3 months because we're doing a wedding, right? Like I said, we're going to have some people over, so we want to have a wedding. Well, this is where we as contractors and experts when it comes to construction, which we always should be, we should be the experts, this is where we need to educate the customer. Well, if I'm looking at this and I'm going 3 months for a bathroom, right? Okay, well, permits are going to take about 8 weeks. I'm gonna literally write this all out for them so that they've got it on a notepad or they've got it on a piece of paper. 8 weeks for permits. Okay. And then the city is up to, the city's going to do their thing. You, me, and your husband, we need about 1 week to finalize drawings. And then it's going to be about 3 weeks of actual build time, other than the granite, which is going to take about 2 weeks for the countertops in the bathroom. I'll coordinate everything. If you spell it out like that, what we're doing is we're showing them the true timeline of the project and how it's going to advance. And we're basically saying, hey, if you wanted this, we should have started yesterday, because we've got 3 months and we might be able to get this done, but only if you pull the trigger today. So you don't have 3 months to get the project done. You're in permitting, you're in ordering, you're in all these things. So I want to spell that out to the customer, be the expert, and really walk them through that this is what this actually looks like. Now, if you're saying, I think I can get it done, have confidence that you can get it done. If you don't think you can get it done on time, tell the client, hey, listen, I'm really sorry, I don't think I can get this done for the wedding unless X, Y, and Z, right? Unless I charge more and get more subcontractors in, whether I put more time in to go and get, the material myself, whatever it looks like, you need to shape it so that you're going to hit the client's expectations, or they're going to feel really upset that you didn't hit their deadline. Typically, when it comes to construction projects, we're notorious for always going over time anyway. So if you've got a pretty good track record and you can pull some numbers out, right? As for example, well, our last 3 projects have finished 10% ahead of schedule, so we can probably get this done in time for you. That's some really good stats that you can give to your customer to really separate you from the guy who's saying, well, maybe we can get it done. I'll try my hardest. At least if you've got some stats to back it up that you can get it done faster, then they're probably going to pull the trigger, which means that you can probably sell it for a little bit more. So again, convenience and guarantees are worth more than I'll try my hardest in this context. So definitely try and do that. So you're gonna put it on a notepad, spell it out for them. 8 weeks permits, 1 week finalized drawings, 2 to 4 weeks cabinet fabrication, week 3 to 5 countertop templates, whatever you're gonna do, and then install and booked before the guests arrive. Literally spell this out and give it to them so that even if they don't decide today, which I'm hoping they do, that you can then move on and they know exactly what's going to get done. So I'll just say something like, hey, honestly, if you want this thing to be wedding ready, you should have pulled the trigger last week. Have you applied for the permits yet? And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to shut up. Again, I'm not trying to bear down and basically, penalize my customer for not thinking about permits. That's not the point here. That's not what I'm trying to do. The customer might not even know that they need permits for certain things. That's me that has to decide that. That's my job to be the expert in this. But I am going to ask that question. Well, have you applied for permits? And they're going to say no. And you say, well, we need to get started now, right? What we're creating is that scarcity. We're creating that urgency. Let's get this done. I can help you here. Let's do it. Again, we're not going to do that unless we're 100% sure that we're providing the best service out of everybody else and we can actually get it done. We always aim to under promise and over deliver, over communicate in every single setting when it comes to running a solid construction business. But yeah, so I would just say, honestly, you want to be ready. We should have applied for permits last week. Have you done that yet? No? All right. Okay. I think I can get it done in the next couple of days. If we sign the dotted line today, we can probably get it done. So be the expert, establish a little bit of urgency, but really paint the picture of what it looks like. Again, don't punish them for not being the expert. That's your job to do that. And you are there in front of those clients right now. Couple other timing responses. If someone says, "Oh, we're just a bit too busy right now. We can't get it done right now." Well, one of these ones, this is a tough one because if they're saying, "Hey, we're going to put it off right now," there might be a pricing objection behind it, right? If they're saying, "Hey, we're not really ready yet," that could be that we don't have the funds together to do this yet. It could be that we've not fully fleshed out our design yet, or we don't really know what we want yet. Again, we're not ready. That's fine, but we need to understand that objection so that we can either handle it now or plan to handle it in the future. One really key example here, if someone says, "Oh, well, I'm quite busy right now, but, I don't want to pull the trigger." A really good example of this is like COVID pricing, right? If you've been in business for the last 5 years, you'll remember that pre-COVID, there was one set of prices for your materials and your products when you could get everything easily. And then throughout COVID, all our prices just absolutely skyrocketed with the cost of shipping and our timelines with our products getting held up on shipping containers at the ports and stuff like that. And then what happened is the prices never really came down after that, right? The prices never really came down after that. So you can use that context almost in a way where you could be telling your client, well, hey, listen, I know you're busy now. I know that you don't think that you want to do this right now, but just so you know, during COVID, we saw that people who locked in their projects and got their projects done, they got to benefit from those cheaper prices. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months to a year. We live in a crazy world. We don't know if we're going to get locked down again. We don't know if there's going to be, and again, I'm not trying to scare the customer here. I'm just really giving them a sense that what I'm giving you today or what I'm promising you today could totally change tomorrow based on environment, based on economic pressures or economic situations. So you can wait, but can you afford to wait is the question. And I bet you there's still people out there who wish they had done their project pre-COVID. They probably have quotes and they sat on it and they did nothing. And now their project is 25 to 30% more expensive than it was pre-COVID. Locking down decisions now could save you money in the event that something happens. Plus, if you schedule later, I might not have availability to work with you. So again, it's better to do it now than leave it till later, but I'll leave that in your court and you can decide. So again, this is a slippery slope that you're going down. We don't want to scare the customer away, but we do want to give them the heads up. Hey, listen, things can change. We've seen that happen multiple times over the last 5 years. It's the cheapest it's ever going to get today. It's not going to become 10% cheaper. It's not going to become 20% cheaper. If anything, it's only going to get more expensive from this point. Again, we can always pause here and we can ask the customer again, hey, is this about price, quality, or timing? And go back to that situation that I explained when we were doing the need module, where we talked about, is this price, is it quality, is it timeline? Because again, I can use that as an objective handling tool where I can say you can have the price and you can have the quality, but you're not going to get it quickly. or you can have the quality and you can get the time, but it's not going to be cheap. You can use that as a little tool that will help you to guide the client to make a good decision. Anyway, timeline, really pull it back into your qualification process. Again, jump into the school course. We have got the 9-step sales process fully mapped out step by step by step so that you don't have to even worry about trying to remember all this stuff. You can just follow it for every sale that you're doing. Make sure that you're ticking the boxes and getting the right system in place. And then you could potentially even train a salesperson on that later when you do decide to get out of sales yourself as the owner. So jump into the school course, go check it out. You can add, you can jump in it for a month. You can stay there for 3 months. It's cancel anytime. Jump in, try it out, see what you think, see if you like it, and go get some value. But the biggest thing is keep developing yourself, keep learning, keep pushing, keep growing at all times. It is the best use of your time and it is the highest return on investment. Anyway, guys, I'll leave you to it. I will see you in part 4 for the last one of the main 4, which is going to be relationship/trust. And I will see you in there on the next module.